Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Post Race Reddit, where every single week I go to the NASCAR Reddit page and go through the post race discussion, and I pick out some of my favorite comments for each NASCAR Cup Series event. If you see one of your comments made by your profile on Reddit used on one of these videos, just let me know, and I'll make sure to make a little list of your name and whoever else's names don't want to be involved with these videos, and I will no longer use your comments. I'm hoping these videos begin to pop off a little more. That way I can do it on my own Reddit page or maybe my Twitter page or something like that. But for now, we are doing this, and let's get into post-race Reddit, post-Martinsville Speedway, the Cookout 400. The first one here is from Juventus, so it must be a soccer fan if anybody knows soccer. Probably a Ronaldo fan when Ronaldo raced for Juventus, not raced, played for Juventus. Juventus 7 shop. First successful Alan Gustafson strategy call. And then the Boiler Cat immediately responds, broken clock still right twice a day. I knew I was going to probably see this. I don't know if these two are Elliott fans or not, but Alan Gustafson, he's been around a long time. He's one of the best crew chiefs in NASCAR. This idea that Alan Gustafson's a shitty crew chief really needs to stop. And I saw a lot of comments on Alan Gustafson. Some of them really good. Some of them being like, oh, it's about time he finally made a good call. Saw a whole bunch on Alan Gustafson. He was probably the most talked about. I'd say he was probably the most talked about thing in this. Obviously, I saw a lot of Chase Elliott as well, but I think Alan Gustafson might have even trumped him. A lot of discussion about Alan Gustafson. What a call by Alan Gustafson. I know that Elliott wasn't too happy with the way the car was driving at the time, but Alan Gustafson's still the one that has to make the call. Do you come down pit road now? Because you're risking having the car run really bad later because you're on really old tires later on in the run. So Alan Gustafson still had to make the call, and that's the call he made, and it ended up being the race-winning call with little help from Hamlin on one of the late restarts. So hell of a job by Alan Gustafson, and he deserves his flowers. He deserves respect. This one is from Senka112, and I'm a McLeod fan, a BJ McLeod. I respect that. Interesting tidbit. The 22nd place finish by Allgaier is the best finish for the 48 this year. It's been a tough year for the 48 team. They have really struggled, whether with Bowman in the car or with Allgaier in the car. I am wearing my Bowman shirt in support. Hopefully Bowman gets back in the car soon. I'm hoping he's going to be able to. I think he's going to be missing Bristol, and then I think he might come back for Kansas, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. But that's what the talk is at the moment, that Kansas would be the first available race that he might be able to do. So we'll have to see. I think the 48 team is just struggling as a whole right now because we see how much ass Allgaier is kicking, and that doesn't transfer immediately over to the Cup Series. That's not how that works. But we know how talented of a driver Allgaier is. I think Bowman's a very talented driver too. I don't know if the 48 is really quite a... Hendrick as a whole, honestly, haven't done great this season. I know Elliott finally got Hendrick's first win of the season this past weekend, but I do think it's been an off year for at least the start for Hendrick, just because of the new bodies, I would assume. I think that's just really what's holding him up. And I think the 48 team is just really struggling as a whole this year. And this one is from Carry On My Wayward Son. I'm not going to sing anymore. Carry On My Wayward Son 96. Really happy to see Shane come home 11th overall, had a solid day, and constantly stayed up towards the front. Yeah, Shane ran great. I think he was one of the bigger talking points after the weekend. He just continues to improve on ovals, and I know, and I said it coming into the weekend, actually. If some of you watched my preview last week, I felt like Shane was going to be a good underdog for like a top 5, top 10, and he was running top 5, top 10 all race long, because this is kind of how it's always been for some of those road course guys. The road course guys seem to have a lot of success on like the short tracks, flatter sort of tracks. Like I remember Robbie Gordon won at New Hampshire all those years ago. Marcus Ambrose and Juan Pablo Montoya had more success at tracks like Martinsville. Also Bristol. Bristol's obviously not a flat track, but it is a shorter sort of track. They seem to have a lot of success there. Allmendinger, he's done pretty well at the shorter tracks as well over the years. It seems like the short track guys get a grasp on the short tracks quicker than the other ovals on the schedule. So a great run by Shane. Probably should have gotten the top 10, but right outside the top 10 and 11th. And this one right here is from PEMDAS 975. Alan is now 2 for 537 on strategy calls. Like, I don't know why we're acting like Alan Gustafson's a shitty crew chief. I just honestly don't get it. The Chase Elliott fans have something to blame it on, I guess, every week. And now that Alan Gustafson helped him, well, I wouldn't say helped him. He pretty much won him the race. Elliott wouldn't have won the race if it wasn't because of that strategy. Hamlin would have won the race if it wasn't because of that strategy, because Elliott wouldn't have even been in second if he followed everybody else's strategy. So Alan Gustafson won him the race, in my opinion. Gustafson needs some more credit. I get having fun and everything, but I feel like a lot of these comments aren't from fun. They're just Chase Elliott fans hate Alan Gustafson. They hate Alan Gustafson. I've definitely seen him make some bad calls, but every crew chief's going to make some bad calls for sure. It's bound to happen. Alan Gustafson's at least willing to take the chance, unlike a lot of other crew chiefs that are just going to follow what everybody else does. And that's why they don't get called out, because they just do what everybody else does. Alan Gustafson takes chances. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, and it worked out this week, and now he's still getting shit talked about him. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. And this one is from Maestro Batch. I feel weird being disappointed with an SVG P11, but yeah, somehow here I am. And that's what I was just kind of saying previously with one of the other Reddit comments. I think SVG was a top 10 guy. He ran top 10. I would say he ran 6th or 7th the majority of the day. Right outside the top 5 was the majority of his day. And different strategies in that last stage ended up putting him outside the top 10. I think at one point he was like 13th or 14th. Ended up driving back up for 11th. Couldn't quite get in the top 10 though. And I saw SVG's interview after the race as well. And he just had a great day. He had a fantastic day. And 11th actually is a little bit disappointing just because of how well he ran, not just on Sunday, but the whole weekend. The next one I got right here is from Holding Hands by NYE. Chase Elliott versus Christopher Bell. The two NASCAR drivers most likely to keep to themselves and just pet the dog at the house party. If it's versus, definitely Elliott. I would put Bell in a similar category. I just don't think these two drivers. I think when they're with their friends and everything, they obviously probably have good personalities and they're probably a lot of fun, probably pretty cool guys. But when they're in front of the camera, they're just so bland. Like the fact that Elliott showed a little bit of emotion. He seemed hyped. But even him being hyped was still pretty bland, I would say. Like, this is like one of the most hyped versions of Chase Elliott I saw at the end of this race, just because he seemed really happy. But he did I don't know. I try to like Chase Elliott, but he's just boring. He's a boring, bland driver. And Christopher Bell, I wouldn't put quite as bad as Elliott. I think Bell definitely shows more emotion and more personality than Elliott does, but he's in a similar boat. I would say. And the Pug is putting down the law again this week. I love Law Pug. If you ever see these videos, I love your comments in here. I really do. And I like this one too. A guy shooting himself in the nuts. The 23. Well, Bubba fans, top 3 in points was fun while it lasted. Yeah. I think they dropped to like 11th or something. He dropped way back in the points. He dropped like 11th or 12th or something. And he shot himself in the nuts, shot himself in the foot, whatever way you want to put it. He saw only red, tried to go after Hocevar, ended up totaling his own race car. It was idiotic. It was one of the most idiotic things I've seen Bubba do, for sure. I think it was one of the most idiotic things that he has ever done. It definitely goes with him hooking Larson into the outside wall. I would put it on that sort of level, not on the level when it comes to he put him in danger, should get suspended, but just, that was stupid. That was so dumb. That was so freaking dumb on Bubba's part. I actually put a good amount of money on Bubba. I usually don't put a lot of money on drivers. I didn't put a lot. I put like $10. That's more than what I'd usually put on a driver winning the race. And that's, other than Kyle Busch winning the 500, that's the most I've put on a driver winning a race. I had a really good feeling about Bubba this weekend. And I think he had maybe top 10 speed at best, top 15 for sure, maybe top 10 speed, and probably would have went out. He probably would have finished top 10, maybe even top 5, depending on how the strategy was called at the end of this race. And he spun around Hocevar, destroyed Hocevar's car. Hocevar was still able to get a top 20. But Bubba Wallace, after wrecking, he couldn't get off the front straightaway. He totaled his race car and finished 36th. It was one of the most idiotic things I've seen Bubba Wallace ever do. And honestly, I was pretty mad about it, disappointed about it. It was just really stupid. I don't think I can say that enough times. What Bubba Wallace did on lap 323 at Martinsville was incredibly idiotic. We got Kai Busch owns you 5188. A picture of Kyle Busch P24. I thought it would be worse. People that watch this channel know that I'm a Kyle Busch diehard. I've been a big fan of Kyle Busch before he even came to the Cup Series. He's been my favorite driver in NASCAR for more than 20 years at this point. And to see him struggle as hard as he is right now, because I think it is partially him. I know he's not great in the next-gen car, but Richard Childress Racing as a whole is just complete and utter booty cheeks right now. Like, RCR is just complete ass right now. That's why some of you may have heard me say this. I think RCR should sign with Ram. I really do. I think it would be a tough couple of years. Well, not Ram, but Dodge. You get what I'm saying with Dodge. I think it would be a tough couple of years moving over to Dodge, but it's already tough right now running 30th every single week. Austin Dillon has honestly been the star RCR guy throughout this season so far, and that's him not doing anything. That's him running just slightly better. That's like him running top 20, and Kyle Busch is running top 25. Kyle Busch was the best RCR driver this week at Martinsville, but that doesn't say much. They were all, at one point, they were all multiple laps down. Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, and then Austin Hill was in the race this week as well. And at one point, they were all 2+ laps down. It was just... RCR is a joke right now, in my opinion. It's very disappointing to watch. I want someone to save Kyle Busch, but at this point, with how bad he's performed the last couple of years, I wouldn't say he was bad his last couple of years at Gibbs, but he didn't have much success his last couple of years at Joe Gibbs Racing. I think I don't know where he's going to go. I really don't know what the future is for Kyle Busch. It's a contract year. I think he probably returns to RCR. I don't know at this point. I'm hoping Spire finds a way to get him. I really do. I hope he finds a way into that 71 car or something like that. Because, yeah, this is depressing. This is depressing to watch, whether you're a Kyle Busch fan or not, because Kyle Busch is one of the best drivers of all time. And we've seen a lot of drivers at the end of their career struggle heavily. You have, of course, Kyle Busch. And my favorite driver growing up was Bobby Labonte. That's the whole reason why I switched to Kyle Busch, because Bobby Labonte was struggling in the Penny Enterpriser's car. He was about to go over to Hall of Fame Racing, and I saw the tea leaves. I knew that his career was pretty much done, and Kyle Busch was my 100% my favorite driver from that point forward. We saw Darrell Waltrip have all the struggles he did. Richard Petty, obviously, he struggled pretty bad at the end of his career. Jimmy Johnson, he struggled at the end of his career, and he's still struggling right now. Terry Labonte, you can maybe, I wouldn't say Labonte. Terry Labonte is as bad as those other guys, but you can maybe put him in there to a certain degree as well. I hate to see it. I hope we're able to figure it out. Hope Kyle Busch is able to figure it out, because if he doesn't get another win in his career, it's going to be quite disappointing, because a couple years ago, I would have predicted he would get over 100 Cup wins at one point. When he was on top of his game, I probably would have been like, yeah, Kyle Busch is probably going to get to 100 Cup Series wins. And now at this point, it would be insane if he just gets to 70. Like, 70 would be insane at this point. That's like, I'd say 70 is probably out of reach at this point, unfortunately. And this one here is from Traditional Cell 8172. Guys, only a few more weeks until Prime. Prime has done the best job. They did the best job last year. I think Fox started off this year really well. I think they definitely made a lot of improvements throughout this year. But these last 2 weeks have been very difficult for Fox. I kind of wish I was listening to MRN or something over the last 2 weeks, because there isn't battles up at the very front. If people aren't battling for the race lead, Fox is ass. And I don't really like to blame Kevin Harvick too much in this, because Kevin Harvick has talked about it before. He gets kind of annoyed when they just put the cameras up front. It comes from the producer aspect of it, because wherever they're putting the cameras, that's what they need to talk about. They can't be talking about something that the consumer, I guess you could say, the fan can't see on TV. So they can't talk about everything, because that's not what they're showing. So it's hard to blame the booth too much. The booth isn't doing great, though. Mike Joy isn't doing a bad job, but he's obviously not at the top of his game. Kevin Harvick, I really think, is doing the best he possibly can, and he's already not one of the strongest analysts out there. So I think he's just doing the best job that he can. Clint Boyer just doesn't do a great job. I think Clint Boyer is hilarious, and I've said it before. I don't think Clint does a very good job at all. And Fox is just, the last 2 weeks have been awful for Fox. Before that, I thought they were doing a really good job. Obviously, I didn't get to watch the Fox broadcast for Vegas or for Phoenix, because I was at those races. But other than Vegas and Phoenix before that, I thought they were doing a really good job. And these last couple of weeks have just been really bad broadcast by Fox, I would say. And then this one will be the final one. And once again, it's Kai Busch owns you 5188. I saw Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Jeff Gordon talking with each other after the race. This is a maybe a tinfoil hat scenario, because I am aware that Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney are good friends. I wouldn't say they're the best of friends, but they're really close for sure. If Bubba Wallace wasn't in the field, I'd say Ryan Blaney's best friend is probably Chase Elliott. But Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney are like that, and Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott are pretty close as well for sure. So it's most likely just a conversation and congratulating him on the win, because Blaney was running around Elliott all day. They're racing around each other all day. But the fact that Jeff Gordon's part of this conversation could maybe have you put on a tinfoil hat. Some of you may have seen me talk about it on Hit the Pace Car or in one of my videos here on my channel, that it is a contract year for Ryan Blaney. It is a contract year for Alex Bowman. I have put a tinfoil hat on. Ultimately, I think he will stay at Penske, but I do think there is... some people are discounting it 100%. Everybody's like, oh, he's so successful at Penske, there's no chance he's going to leave. I've seen everybody pretty much fight me on this, but I do think there is a small chance. I would say maybe like a 10 to 20% chance that Ryan Blaney decides to leave Penske to drive the number 48 for Hendrick. So this could be... I doubt that's what they're discussing here. Even if that is on the table, I really doubt they're discussing that in victory lane after Chase Elliott just won the race. I really highly doubt that, even if it is on the table for Blaney to move over to Hendrick. But it is interesting. I was interested if anybody else noticed this, because I remember them showing this during the Fox broadcast very briefly. They put the camera on Blaney in victory lane having this conversation with Jeff Gordon and Chase Elliott for like 2 seconds on Fox, and they took it off. So I was curious if anybody else noticed that. Obviously, I noticed that, because I do think that there is a chance that Blaney can go over to Hendrick. So it was interesting for sure. All right, and that'll do it for this week's edition of Post-Race Reddit, post-Martinsville, the Cookout 400. We won't be doing a post-race Reddit next week, because there is no... I do these for the Cup Series races, and there is no Cup Series race next week. They're in Rockingham, but I'll still be doing all my other normal stuff. I'm even doing a Rockingham Mount Rushmore, and I will be doing that, and that should be coming out probably tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. So I'm looking forward to Rockingham this weekend, but yeah, no post-race Reddit this weekend, so expect the next post-race Reddit in 2 weeks. Post Bristol, we could see a crazy tire fall off. We could see some crazy things in that race. We saw it in the spring race 2 years ago, so maybe we'll see some crazy stuff. We'll have to see. But for now, like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, do whatever you got to do on this video. But for now, see you in the next video. My name is Trackside Larry, saying peace.